evening. Hello and welcome to News Epicenter. I'm Anusha Soni. After a hectic power play, Siddaramaiah has been chosen to be the next Chief Minister for the state of Karnataka. DK Shivakumar will be the only Deputy Chief Minister from the state. A call from Mrs. Sonia Gandhi is said to have sealed the deal between the warring leaders. Both were refusing to blink ever since the election results came out. While sources say that the swearing-in ceremony will take place on the 20th of May. A CLP meeting is also scheduled to take place shortly. We'll take you through all the live developments, but this is not the end of the difficult questions that lie ahead before the Congress party in the process of government formation. And after that, there'll be no rotation of power and Siddaramaiah will remain the Chief Minister for the full term. But 5 years is a long time in politics. Would this settlement continue to remain acceptable to Mr. DK Shivakumar? Many like G. Parmeshwara have also made a statement that they are unhappy with the decision of the party high command. In the cabinet formation process, the party will have to remain mindful of the caste equation, ensure a proportionate representation of various communities who have voted for the Congress party, and lastly, look at the preparations being made for the grand swearing-in ceremony. Congress leaders, many opposition leaders from across the country shall be invited. This swearing-in ceremony will be the perfect picture opportunity for the Congress party to cement its position as the lead in the opposition camp, a position presently vied by some regional parties and regional satraps. Well, let me cut across straight to our reporters who are tracking the story from the ground. Mr. Siddaramaiah has landed in Bengaluru. There's a CLP meeting which is all scheduled to take place. Ritu, tell us what's happening on the ground.
Well, the celebrations movement right outside the residence of Siddaramaiah. There you see all his supporters chanting, raising the slogans, calling him Karnataka's next Chief Minister, and also too happy about that fact that he's going to be the Karnataka's next Chief Minister as well. They're all here to just get the glimpses of Siddaramaiah. They are hoping that any moment that Siddaramaiah is going to be here, so they want to congratulate him. But meanwhile, on the other hand, we are also seeing a lot of movements here. The security has been stepped up. The cops that you can see are all have lined up here because Siddaramaiah is expected to reach his residence any time now. So that's the level of security. The security has been stepped up. But meanwhile, many Congress MLAs are also entering his residence to congratulate him. There you can see in the visual many coming with flower bouquets as well to just congratulate him. But meanwhile, people here have high hopes. Therein we can see some vehicle movements. Needs to be seen whether it's Siddaramaiah. Well, looks like it's going to be Karnataka's. It looks like it's going to be Siddaramaiah, but the security has been yeah, that's Siddaramaiah in the visual. You can see Siddaramaiah in the visual. He has reached his residence now, entering. But there you see the flowers are all being showered on his vehicle. The supporters of him are all raising slogans here. They just want to meet him and congratulate him. So that's the atmosphere right outside his residence. So there you can see the excitement level as well within the supporters. So yes, from now here that he will be heading for the CLP meeting where another crucial meeting will take place with Siddaramaiah continuing. You see a lot of other Congress MLAs are also entering in his residence. The vehicle movement that you can see. So therein you see the Congress MLAs are also going inside his residence. So from here is that they will all be moving into for the CLP meeting at the Congress office. So continuous vehicle movements. But meanwhile, the supporters are all very excited here. They are again waiting for Siddaramaiah to come out so that they can just say him hello and wish him as well.
Yeah.
So yes, that's the atmosphere here.
Ritu, Mr. Siddaramaiah reaching his residence, the CLP, the Legislative Party meet is expected to start at around 7:30. Are you expecting Mr. Siddaramaiah to come out and meet the party workers because they've been waiting here for hours just to catch a glimpse of their leader?
Very true. You see, Siddaramaiah did have a long day today. The whole day he was there in Delhi from past few days that the series of meetings did go on there. But here, you see, needs to be seen now because one, he was very exhausted that he did not speak to the media as well, though media tried speaking to him. However, he was very happy. You see, his vehicle was completely with the flowers from that HAL that he left. The flowers that were showered on his vehicle here as well. We did see how many of his supporters were also, showering those flower petals as well. So just they did really, wanted Siddaramaiah to come out and just say them hi, but we do know that he is having a pain in his right hand, so he's trying to ignore all sort of stunts for the supporters.
Yeah.
He wants to be at this point in time very safe as well, because his health is also a concern for him. But let's try and speak to this few supporters here who are all here. So ನೀವು ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಬಟ್ ಅವರು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಹಾಯ್ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರು. ಸೊ ಯು ಸ್ಟೇ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಹಿಯರ್.
ಹೇಳೋದೇ ಬೇಡ, ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು, ನಮಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಖುಷಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಈ ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂಥರ ಮಾದರಿ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ ಅವರು.
ಸರ್, ಅವರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಂತ ಏನ್ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ನಡೆಸ್ತಾರೆ, ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ. ಹಿಂದೆ ನಡೆಸಿದರೆ ಮುಂದೆ ನಡೆಸಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ.
So there you see his supporters saying that, we just got to see him and that's more than enough for us. Doesn't matter for us, whether he comes out and tells us hi or not, but we just got to see him and we are done. That's the kind of happiness that the supporters are having. But meanwhile, while trying to speak other supporters in Canada, that you see other supporter was also saying that under his governance is that the Karnataka people did get a lot of things, but this time again under his leadership here, people are hoping that there will be a better facilities that will be provided to the people of the Karnataka. There will be a better development as well. We did speak to few supporters back as well. They were saying that finally people of Karnataka have got rid of the alleged corrupt government. That's the way you see the supporters were also targeting the BJP there. But needs to be seen now that any moment again you see the Siddaramaiah, who has reached his residence inside, will be meeting few of this Congress MLAs who have come with the flower bouquets. After all, they couldn't meet Siddaramaiah for a long time, because Saturday is that the Congress went on to win with that huge margin, and Sunday there was a CLP meeting, and right after that we did see a lot of back and forth for the CM post. And then after continuous series of meeting is that the Congress High Command finally was today able to come to a conclusion and declare who is going to be the Karnataka CM and the Deputy CM
well, Ritu,
as well.
you have tracked
So yes,
Mr.
from here
Siddaramaiah throughout the campaigning, and even after the election results had come out, I'll come back to you, and it looked like that Mr. Siddaramaiah remained confident since the beginning, ever since the results came out, that he's going to be the next chief minister. A decision that took some time, some reasonable time for it to be cemented and come out from the Congress Party High Command. He has reached his residence. He's flanked by the party supporters and workers. 7:30 is when the crucial legislature party meeting has to happen. We also heard from R.V. Deshpande, a senior Congress leader, in conversation with my colleague Harish. Listen.
Yeah. Joining us right now, Senior Congress Leader Mr. R.V. Deshpande. Sir, a tremendous majority that the people of Karnataka have given Congress. Is it a challenge now on how you run this team?
A tremendous mandate, a great challenge for us now. People's expectations are high. The corrupt rule has been thrown out, and it becomes the responsibility of the Congress Party, all legislators, that we join hands together and give a good governance, people-friendly government, development-oriented government, and a government which works for the poor, the needy, the young, and the woman, and the farmer.
So, a lot of people, a lot of senior leaders saying that perhaps there should have been a few more deputy chief minister posts.
It's not decided. No, who knows how many deputy chief ministers are being? Why they are gossiping? For what reason? One has to have patience and try to know what happens. Only then I can comment.
But do you think that should be the ideal way? Have at least 4 deputy chief ministers to give
No. It depends. It depends on the situation. I have been in many governments. Day for one Ramakrishna government I was there. I worked with 8 chief ministers. Understand? So I know how things happen, how ministers happen, how much pressure is there. It all depends upon the situation, what to do and what not to do.
So finally, 135 MLAs, a lot of them are also senior MLAs as well. Do you think it's a challenge on how the party accommodates them in the cabinet, what portfolios they are given?
See, ultimately, everybody knows that everybody cannot become a minister. So those who are ministers, their responsibility is to take everybody together, and nobody should feel that he's not a minister. Their comfort, the minister should go give to those people who can't become ministers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for speaking to CNN News 18.
Cutting across to my colleague Pallavi as well. She is with us on the broadcast. Pallavi, as far as the cabinet formation is concerned, we've discussed how even that's going to be a tricky and a critical exercise for the Congress party. Any instructions which have been given by the party high command on that subject?
Well, there was an instruction which was given by Rahul Gandhi day before when he had gone to meet the Congress president, and the word which came out of that meeting, which we were told, was that Rahul Gandhi never said that he has a preference as far as the CM face is concerned. He said that, Mr. Kharge, that's your choice, you decide who it wants to be. But as far as the ministers are concerned, you clearly have to be someone who represents that vote bank who voted for the Congress. So equitable balance of power and representation for people like Muslims, SC, ST, women, they should find a place as far as the cabinet goes.
Pallavi, what's your sense? Is Mr. DK Shivakumar being placated? Has he wholeheartedly accepted this decision? Because that's what everybody is talking about.
Well, I mean, if I was DK Shivakumar, or if any one of us was DK Shivakumar, and if your ambition is to become the CM and you get to be a deputy CM, certainly you're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
But he's not talking much. He's not saying much on this topic.
Absolutely. He's not saying much on that topic, as Pallavi said. And I think it's true that if you wanted to be the chief minister and you've been given the deputy post, how would you be happy about that? My colleague Harish is also with us on the broadcast. Harish, we are expecting that crucial CLP meet to begin at around 7:30 p.m. Both the leaders have been given a rousing welcome. Give us a sense of what the top leadership, the state unit of the party is really talking about, because the next big thing to watch out for is the cabinet formation and the 5 guarantees that the Congress party had promised to the people of Karnataka.
Yes, there are 2 crucial challenges in front of the Congress government now. One is the cabinet formation. Who will get a berth? How will these 2 camps lobby for their own people, their own supporters? How will the Congress ensure that the new caste groups backing them will also find representation? At the same time, in Karnataka, you also have to be mindful about regional representation as well. Kalyana Karnataka has backed Congress to the hilt. Central Karnataka Congress has seen significant gains. That's largely due to the Lingayat vote. So they will have to be given representation. While all this is being considered, they also have to be taking care of the senior leaders that are in the party. Imagine there are someone like K.H. Munyappa, Abhikari Prasad, people who have been active at the centre, who have access to the High Command, the Gandhi family, and they're now back in the state. How will Siddaramaiah handle them? Apart from that, a whole list of senior leaders who want to be in the cabinet, and that will be a huge aspiration, and not everyone's aspiration would be fulfilled. And how would you then handle those people, those senior MLAs who are antagonized? These are the challenges for the Congress party, perhaps in the next week or so.
Those are the key challenges for the Congress party in the next week or so. Harish, what is the process which is followed from here on? As the CLP meet happens, what is the protocol within the Congress party? What are the different steps that the party is going to undertake as it gears up to form the next government?
Well, as soon as the CLP meeting gets over, where Siddaramaiah would be selected as or voted as the leader of the legislature party, he would head to the Raj Bhavan, stake claim to form the next government. He would say that Congress has emerged as the single largest party and also has the majority, and he's been elected as the legislature party, and he should be given a chance to form the government. The governor then would call him to form the government and prove numbers. He would give him a specific timeline before which he'll have to do that. In the meanwhile, in the Congress party, we do understand that DK Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah are likely to head back to Delhi for a series of meetings tomorrow to decide who will make it to the cabinet. The Congress wants to have at least 28 to 30 ministers taking oath in the cabinet tomorrow, day after, alongside Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar, and ensure there's not much room for any lobbying after that. They perhaps would keep around 2 or 3 cabinet berths vacant for any political crisis that might emerge. But largely, at least majority of those seats would be filled.
Majority of the seats would be filled. And I want to go back to Pallavi and talk more about the swearing-in ceremony and how critical would that be for the Congress party. What kind of photo op they would want to really put out. Before that, let me also once again go to Ritu, who is on the ground. She was getting us a sense of as to how things are. The supporters really excited of Mr. Siddaramaiah outside his residence. He's reached his residence right now. Ritu, what's happening? What time do we expect Mr. Siddaramaiah to leave his residence?
Yes, so he is inside. The Siddaramaiah, in fact, is inside his residence right now, where you see the Congress MLA Rizwan Arshad and also a few others have just entered to first wish him and also congratulate him. So once that all is done, of course, that Siddaramaiah will be out any time. And again, the supporters are all here. They are just increasing in numbers that they want this time anyhow. Siddaramaiah to actually come out and speak to them, wave his hand as well, because after all, he is the Karnataka's next chief minister, 24th chief minister of the Karnataka. We do know that he will also be taking an oath, as Rizwan Arshad said to CNN News 18, that day after tomorrow is when Siddaramaiah will be taking oath, and also DK Shivakumar as Deputy CM. So under their leadership is that the party has decided to go forward and ensure that there will be a good governance for the people of Karnataka. So their priority will remain 6.5 crore Kannadigas. So that's what the Rizwan Arshad had to say. But of course, after that is all done inside his residence, after he finishes meeting the MLAs who have actually come here to meet him. After that, he will be coming out and heading for the CLP meeting, which will again be a crucial meeting. So while talking to Rizwan Arshad, we did try and understand that what it is all going to be about. So he says that this is now that the party has decided on the CM and Deputy CM post. So next step is for the party to ensure that all these leaders are well occupied with the for the ministers' post. So none of them are upset, and none of them are upset.
The cabinet formation happens,
the Lok Sabha
as you point out, Ritu, with the right proportional representation, equitable representation. I want to cut back to Pallavi as well. She's with us on the broadcast. Pallavi, that swearing-in ceremony is going to be important for the Congress party, not just from the Karnataka point of view, but the fact that they would want to put out this perfect photo op, which in some ways cements the position of the Congress party as the key leader of the opposition parties in this country. That position has been vied by many regional parties who have been increasing in dominance and questioning the decimating power of the Congress party, and perhaps some questions have been answered by the victory in Karnataka.
Well, I mean, the invite list certainly has gone to all what they call the like-minded political parties. So, MK Stalin, of course, who happens to be an ally of the Congress party in Tamil Nadu, Omar Abdullah, Mamata Banerjee for that matter, Naveen Patnaik, all of them have been invited. And of course, the Congress chief ministers are going to be very much a part of this oath-taking ceremony. I still go back to a time when the Congress JDS government was formed. And at that point of time, the picture which stood out was where Sonia Gandhi and Mayawati touched cheek to cheek. And everyone put up their hand in a show of strength. That was just ahead of the Lok Sabha elections. And that was when they were talking about opposition unity, opposition front. And we saw how it soon got shattered over a period of time. Similarly, I think on 20th, when that oath-taking ceremony takes place, I think the Congress party would actually expect some of the high-profile opposition party leaders to be attending this oath-taking ceremony, and they do a repeat of that because this comes very, very close to the Lok Sabha elections early next year. So Congress party is having sent out an invite. So as far as the opposition's framework is concerned, yes, they would want it to be a show of strength. They would want to see that how many opposition parties turn up. And internally within the Congress party, certainly it's a chance for them to kind of flaunt their success. And why not? This is a big state and they have breached the southern barrier and they have defeated the BJP. So there are reasons why the Congress party certainly wants to celebrate this in a very grand manner.
Absolutely. Pallavi, before I go to my guest, one last point. In the run-up to 2024 and the manner in which this big state has been won by the Congress party, is there a change in the way opposition parties are now looking at Congress? There was a certain degree of softening that was seen from the likes of Akhilesh Yadav or Mamata Banerjee. Would it be correct to say that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. In fact, I found Mamata Banerjee's response very, very interesting.
Yeah.
She was almost as if celebrating the Congress win, as if she had won. The whole argument of opposition unity was that every CM can become a PM.
Okay.
The whole idea is, and the strategy which has been worked out is that every political party is going to do well, what has been their constituency or the states where they are in power, and therefore you increase the overall kitty. And therefore the opposition parties are looking at this win very positively and seeing this perhaps as an opportunity in which they can defeat the BJP in 2024.
All right, Pallavi, thank you so much for putting all that into context and perspective. We'll keep cutting back to our reporters as the details start coming in. Our guests have been patiently waiting with us on the broadcast. Mr. R.P. Singh from the BJP. We have Manish Khanduri from the Congress party. We are also expecting R.K. Upadhyay, the senior journalist, to join us in just some time from now. Neerja Chaudhary, who's a senior journalist, and Tushar Gupta, who's the senior editor of the Swaraj magazine, with us on the broadcast. First, let me go to Manish Khanduri and take in a word from him. Manishi, congratulations. I mean, the name has been decided finally. Relatively speaking, it has been a smooth process, but your critics would say, all right, you have decided on the name, but would this be a stable government? And more importantly, would this power sharing agreement really stick for the next 5 years?
First of all, thank you for the congratulations. Much appreciated. I would contest a few things that you've said.
Sure.
First of all, there are a lot of assumptions being made here. I think you are asking the questions that I think I would like to focus on are the formation of the government. The fact that, as you yourselves have said, that it's been relatively smooth.
Yes.
I'd also like to say it's the normal standard process by which the government has been formed. In a period of, let's say, something like 5 days, we've announced a chief minister, as opposed to how it has happened in other states with other parties in the past. Second of all, this is a normal democratic process in which the exercise of preferences starts right from the booth and the ballot and goes all the way up to the formation and the selection of the chief minister.
Yes.
This is what has happened in the Congress party as part of the process. The third thing that I would like to say is that I cannot predict the future. What I would like to focus on is the fact that the Congress has been given a significant mandate by the people of Karnataka. The mandate is basically a result of failures, I would say, of the previous government. And it is also an expression of the belief and the desire of the people of Karnataka, namely the reduction of corruption, or the elimination of corruption in political life. The second part of it is unemployment and the doing away, or at least the support of infrastructure for the state. And the third is a government that reflects the will of the people. Now, if you were to ask me whether there are challenges ahead, yes, so these are challenges for every government, and I don't think that there is anything extraordinary or special in the formation of the government of Karnataka. I think it was a perfectly normal and natural process, and I congratulate both Mr. DSK and DK Shivakumar and also Siddaramaiah ji for being selected.
Mr. RP Singh, coming to you, the Congress party says that, despite the worst being assumed in their favor, this has been a relatively smooth process. And in objectivity, this has been a smooth process. And the political opponents are merely nitpicking on the Congress party because they have lost elections.
Ma'am, I think that I can't understand.
No, I want Mr. RP Singh to come on this point. That question was for the BJP, sir. Mr. RP Singh.
Thank you, Anushka. Firstly, Mr. Kunduri, congratulations to you for finally settling down the Chief Minister's race and then finally giving a chance to Mr. Siddaramaiah. But my insights tell me that it has been decided that every file will go through Mr. Shivakumar only, and Mr. Shivakumar will have the final authority on each and every decision which is taken up by the government, and also that all MLAs, whatever portfolios has to go into the ministers, will again be decided Mr. Shivakumar. So this what my insight of the Congress party tells me this. But all the best to them, I can say, because we don't want a repeat of Rajasthan to happen in Karnataka, because we have seen what happened in Rajasthan earlier, and how people of Rajasthan are suffering, and also that promises which they have made and said that in the first cabinet meeting will pass those promises. It should not again happen like Rajasthan, where Mr. Rahul Gandhi went and said within 10 days we'll do away with all the farmers' loan, and whenever farmers goes to remind the government of that, they are browbeaten by the police there. So that should not happen. We are hopeful that the promises will be fulfilled and then good government will be given. All
right, Manishji, a quick response from you, and then I will bring in Mr. R.K. Upadhyay and Neerja Chaudhary into the discussion.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Mr. Singhji from the BJP for expressing his thanks. They are most gratefully and gracefully accepted. However, I don't know how to respond to what he is saying in the other instance, because I don't know how to respond to what he's heard about files being... I just don't know how to respond to that statement. I think if there is a statement which has a little more, should I say, maturity to it, then I would be able to respond. But I will say this, that I think that I, for one, am not saying that there are no challenges to government, but there are challenges in every government. The government of Karnataka now has a challenge of fulfilling the mandate of the people. Still a significant way.
Okay.
And therefore...
DK Shivakumar is speaking right now.
ಆಯ್ಕೆಯನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ.
Well, that is DK Shivakumar speaking. We'll try and play out that reaction once again.
ಆಯ್ಕೆಯನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಶಾಸಕಾಂಗ ಪಕ್ಷದ ನಾಯಕರ ಆಯ್ಕೆಯನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ.
That was DK Shivakumar making a brief statement. Both Mr. Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar have reached Karnataka. The CLP meeting is slated to begin in just about 10 minutes from now. Let's see what happens in that meeting, a very critical one for the formation of the government. Mr. R.K. Upadhyay, coming to you. Well, we've heard the political spokesperson. The BJP is doing its job as the political opponent in the state of Karnataka. But this process for the Congress party has been a rather smooth one. They've been able to deal with the ambitions of both the leaders. There's a power-sharing agreement that has been settled between DK Shivakumar and Mr. Siddaramaiah. Now comes the key challenge of the cabinet formation and delivering on the 5 guarantees that were promised by the Congress party.
Well, I think the BJP spokesperson was saying that something very strange. He said all the files will have to go through DK Shivakumar, and even the appointment of ministers, he will have to approve and all that. I don't think any chief minister will tolerate that, much less Mr. Siddaramaiah. He is a seasoned politician and he has been a chief minister for 5 years. And I don't think, all the files have to be routed through Shivakumar. That is, I don't know where he is picked up from. And that's not how the governments function. And I know in Karnataka, being from Karnataka, from Bangalore, I know such things don't happen.
Yeah.
So that is I don't think that is possible. As far as the power sharing is concerned, well, I think that is some caveat that Shivakumar has got to ensure that he also has some say when the government starts functioning. See, we have seen that those things are not really kept up. So we have seen what has happened in Rajasthan, we've seen what's happening in Chhattisgarh, and one has to see how Siddaramaiah will react. So he has been insisting that he should have 5 full years because that's a mandate given to him, and he has traveled around the state and he has mobilized all the communities behind him, and they want him to be the chief minister for 5 years. That has been his stand, and he will stick to that stand. And I don't think he will be ready to vacate after 2 years or 3 years or whatever that so-called agreement. And see, you can't have this kind of agreements whether in writing or
Yeah, you can't get them enforced by a court of law. I mean, they don't mean it.
Enforced by the court, or even the party high command will find it very difficult.
Yeah.
So now they have to make sure that they have a proper, smooth, functioning cabinet. So that is where the problem lies. I mean, that's where the challenge lies, I would say, because there have been other contenders for chief ministership or the deputy chief minister's post. And the names of MB Patil was being mentioned. I mean, he did pitch in for Lingayat, to be given a deputy CM post, but that has not happened. And fortunately for Mr. DK Shivakumar, the party has decided there will be only one
Deputy chief minister in the state. Yeah.
Yes, because he didn't want any dilution of his own position. In fact, it is just Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar who really worked hard to ensure that the Congress came to power.
And sir, as you pointed out, these two wheels will have to work more efficiently. I'll come back to you. A quick response from Mr. R.P. Singh, then I want to bring in Neerja and Tushar into the discussion. Mr. R.P. Singh.
We have not forgotten that National Advisory Committee which Sonia Gandhi used to head, and how files used to move from the PMO to the 10 Janpath for approval. And this, not me saying this, are recorded by the people who are part of the team that time. So, but as far my information goes, I still stand by my word that the government will be finally run by DK Shivakumar only. Mr. Siddaramaiah only a mask or a mascot to be kept for 2.5 years.
All right. I take that point that you're making. Neerja Chaudhary, coming to you, ma'am. Do you see this government working smoothly and governance delivered to people as the mandate has been? This has been a very decisive mandate in the favor of the Congress party, and people don't want any kind of fractured government right now or a coalition government. Will the Congress party be able to deliver on these 5 guarantees or the promises that they have made to the people? Because critics argue these are financially unsustainable and these are lofty promises that have been made at the cost of fiscal prudence.
Look, on day one, I would not like to look at the problems. I think they have successfully solved the leadership, a very tricky leadership issue.
I agree, yeah.
Congress has displayed its old deft touch. And this is very reassuring to people, Congress supporters all over the country. People were watching very, very carefully. They have solved the problem of number 1. Number 2, they have retained the social combination that Siddaramaiah represents the largest vote bank of the Congress, the OBCs, minorities, Dalits, and DK Shivakumar brings in the organizational energy, the money raising, all those qualities that are now going to be needed for the national elections, for which I'm sure these services are going to be used. As far as the 5 guarantees, which is what Rahul Gandhi had said, that the first cabinet meeting, those promises will be fulfilled. And I thought this was a very interesting, positive spin the Congress gave to the problem of, they not only talked about rising prices and economic hardship, they gave this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 promises, which add up to almost 10,000 rupees going to the relevant families. It'll come in the hands. So I think, let's see how it's the first hurdle crossed.
The first hurdle is crossed. The first hurdle is crossed. And you're right.
Give it to them. And I'd say one more thing.
Sure.
It has added inches to Mallikarjun Kharge's stature.
No, I said that at the beginning of the show when I asked my first question to Manishji, that, this is clearly has been a relatively smooth process, and the manner in which the leader has been chosen. These are 2 tall leaders, and to come to an agreement of a power sharing between these 2 could be a very, very tricky task. Tushar, you have a point to make. We are getting all those visuals of the CLP meeting, which is about to begin. The visuals coming in from the Karnataka Congress office, all eyes on that critical meeting that is to happen. But Tushar, your thoughts on the crucial selection that the Congress party has finally made?
Anusha, it says a lot about the credibility of the party when they have a comfortable majority, and yet here we are, a week after the election result, debating if the government will complete its 5-year tenure or not. It says a lot about the credibility. And all the deft touch, the master stroke, the tricky situation that everyone on the panel is speaking about, it was solved in Madhya Pradesh too, when Rahul Gandhi put out that quote from Leo Tolstoy about time and patience. A year and a half later, the government collapsed. We are seeing what's happening in Rajasthan between Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot. So I would suggest everyone should not jump the gun and declare that victory has been achieved by the Congress. But I'm worried about the future of Karnataka, Anusha, because one, they have inherited, or rather voted, a political confusion, because you cannot be having an array of deputy chief ministers. If you have a comfortable mandate, you need a strong leader, which you have in Siddaramaiah. You need to decide on your deputy chief minister. But what we have been hearing for the last few days is about every community wanting a step in the door, wanting to have a share at some of the cabinet berths.
But Tushar, isn't that very symptomatic or very typical of whenever government formation happens, that each leader who has worked for the party would want something, in return from the party?
Anusha, that's fine. But at what cost? You can't be having 3 deputy chief ministers. There were reports of one of the Muslim law boards probably asking for a Muslim deputy chief minister. My simple question is, Congress has a wonderful majority in Karnataka, and all credit to them. And yet they took so long to decide upon their chief minister. They're having troubles with the cabinet berths. There are a lot of lobbying going on. And secondly, about the economic chaos that they're going to unleash in the form of freebies. Now, Karnataka has good fiscal health. That's a good thing. That gives room to the Congress to experiment with freebies. But again, at what cost?
Okay, I'm going to yield it to the Congress spokesperson because he wants to respond. Manishji, please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to respond to that. First of all, let me respond to the facts. I can't respond to innuendo about what's happening in the future. First of all, Uttarakhand government formation. It took 11 days for them to decide on the chief minister. 11 days. Uttar Pradesh, it took them 8 days. So this May 13th, the results are announced. In 5 days, we've announced the chief minister. These are facts on the ground. You can't just, and responding to innuendo about what's going to happen in the future, whether the government is going to last.
Exactly, Manish, you can't respond that what's going to happen in the future.
Don't interrupt.
You're saying with confidence that the Congress is going to complete 5 years of government under
Tusharji, please let him finish his point.
Tusharji,
Tusharji, let him finish his point.
Courtesy to be quiet.
Manish Kanduri, please go ahead.
Listen to my point of view. I did not interrupt you. These are essentially what is being said here is factually incorrect, first of all, which I've already spoken about. The second point that I'm trying to make is, if somebody is saying, they're talking about 3 or 4 deputy chief ministers, where we're just dealing with one at the moment. I can only respond to facts on the ground. I can talk about how things can happen 5 years down the line, 2 years down the line. The fact of the matter is that the chief minister of Karnataka has been named and the deputy chief minister has been named in a process by the exercise of democracy. 1. 2, it has been, from all intents and purposes, a smooth transition of power and a smooth process. 3, there are challenges ahead of us. There are political challenges, there are economic challenges, because it's a large mandate. But those challenges will be met when they come and overcome. And I'm sure the Congress party, and I know the Congress party is preparing for those challenges. Now, if you were to ask me what's going to happen 3 years down the line or 4 years down the line just to make a news item or a headline, I'm sorry, this is CNN. This is not the Sun from the UK.
Tushar, I agree on that point of what is a reasonable point per se. I mean, in a sense, there have been longer durations as quoted by the Congress spokesperson. And yes, these are facts. You can't debate them. This was a reasonable time for them to come to a consensus, wasn't it, Tushar?
It's not about the time they took to come to the consensus. What I find interesting is that the Congress spokesperson here, again, I say that Congress has a wonderful majority, and yet he claims that he cannot be very sure about the future of the government or the party or whoever is going to be the leadership. That is what I'm talking about. That is this a temporary arrangement like we saw in Madhya Pradesh, where we were told that the situation between two stalwarts of the Congress, Kamal Nath and Jyotiraditya Scindia, has been sorted out. Is this again what we heard in Rajasthan?
Okay. I don't think that's what Manish said, but Manish, go ahead and clarify your point.
No, that is not what I said at all. That is not what I said at all. I think my statement you misconstruing or maybe taking my statement out of context to take it to some other state. No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
So let me reframe the question, Manish. I am not taking away from the Congress party the huge mandate they've got. I began this discussion with you, Manish, by saying that this is a smooth process and it was a tricky one, as Neerja pointed out, to have a power sharing agreement between these two tall leaders. But the past of the Congress party, say in a state like Madhya Pradesh or what's happening in Rajasthan, is something your political opponents are throwing at your face again and again and questioning you. Well, it can happen in Karnataka. Why won't it?
So, well, that's a direct question, and I would like to give a direct answer.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that direct question. So here's my answer. Right. I want that what the Congress party is essentially a democracy, a functioning democracy. There are interests, there are people, there are leaders who have these various interests, various opinions, various points of view that sometimes come out in the public domain more than what I personally know happens in the BJP. It's not as if there is any particular difference between the BJP and the Congress in terms of ambition, in terms of differences between leaders, in terms of political maneuvers. Absolutely none. What happens in this case, I think, and I would congratulate the BJP in at least having the semblance of managing it behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Right? I would completely agree with that. Now, let's come to your question. I think that the challenge for Karnataka going ahead is basically implementing the will of the people and implementing on the promises that we gave the people of Karnataka, which I'm sure they will.
But Manish, I'm sorry, I have to ask you, I'm struggling to find an answer to my question. What makes Karnataka different from Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan? A direct question I'm putting to you. I don't think this is the perfect time to talk about this, but this is what your political opponents are asking you and you must answer them.
No, I reject the question in the first place. I mean, I'm rejecting the question. I'm saying that this is a mandate which is being given to the people of Karnataka.
Sure.
If you see the same instance, it happens in Karnataka 2 years down the line, I will be more than happy to answer that question. It's
conjecture at this point. No, I take that point. I want to bring in Mr. Upadhyay into the discussion. Mr. Upadhyay, please go ahead.
No, I think they're just jumping the gun. I mean, two spokespersons are, going into the future. Today is day one. The election of the legislature party leader is being done, and let's wait. Let them have the cabinet first, and then let's see how it goes. I mean, before that, you're talking about how they may not be able to work together. What happened in Rajasthan? What happened in Madhya Pradesh? I think those things are not relevant today.
Yeah,
we have to look at how basically the Congress were able to finally get a good understanding between the two leaders who really had a case for each other. I mean, they both of them have worked really hard to win this election, and their contribution was immense. So
Mr. Upadhyay, I want to keep the political spokesperson aside. And I want to keep aside what the BJP or the supporters of the BJP may say, or, what the political voices are coming in. As a seasoned journalist, sir, as a senior in the profession, I ask this to you. How do you foresee the Karnataka government, and more importantly, in the context of 2024, how Karnataka is handled by these top two leaders is going to be a precursor in many ways for the big elections of Lok Sabha, which are scheduled to happen next year. And this state will also be very, very closely watched out by other opposition parties like the TMC and the Aam Aadmi Party, who've been saying, look, why should the Congress party be in the lead position when it comes to the national picture we are also strong regional leaders. So from that point of view, this 1 year or more than 1 year is going to be very, very critical for the state of Karnataka. Mr. Upadhyay.
Yeah, absolutely, Anusha. I think that is what the focus will be of this government, because they have just about 1 year for the Lok Sabha elections. And they need to get their act together right now. Because in 2019, as you've seen, BJP swept the Lok Sabha polls. They won 26 out of 28. And Congress was reduced to 1 seat. And for the first time, it was happening like that. Because the Karnataka has always been a bastion of the Congress. Even during the emergency, when Mrs. Gandhi lost, seats all over the north, Karnataka gave them 24 seats. So this is the kind of background on which, this government has come in. And Mr. Siddaramaiah has his hands full to make sure that, the Congress gets back its majo in Karnataka and gets at least 8 to 10 seats. In 2013, when he was the chief minister, he made sure that the Congress got 9. Yes. But then in 2019, it just slipped away.
Yes.
So now the focus will be on, ensuring that they give a good government. People will be happy with the kind of government that they have. Yeah. And then, when it comes to the Lok Sabha elections, Narendra Modi is a charismatic leader and he has a great following in Karnataka. Sure. And how is he going to overcome that and ensure that the Congress also has an equal say in the results?
I'll cut across to Neerja Chaudhary, but before that, the visuals on your screen. The CLP is expected to begin any minute from now. The CLP meeting is going to be very critical in the cabinet formation, in the official formation of the government in the state of Karnataka. Mr. Siddaramaiah has reached. Various MLAs of the Congress party have already reached the KPCC office in Bengaluru. You can see the visuals outside, the large number of supporters who have gathered. The visuals first here on CNN News 18. While Mr. Siddaramaiah was leaving from his home and he is en route to the party office, that's when the meeting is expected to begin in the next few minutes from now. And that particular procedure within any political party is very, very critical and intrinsic to the formation of the government as and when the swearing in really happens. Neerja ji, taking that point to you that I was discussing with Mr. R.K. Upadhyay, that this 1 year or roughly more than 1 year is going to be very important for the Congress party. All eyes of the opposition camp as to how the Congress party runs its affairs here. This is also a state where they would want to make sure that they get their mojo back. Can Karnataka deliver it for the Congress party? That's perhaps left best to the administrators or the organization man like DK Shivakumar and other people.
Look, first obstacle has been crossed today. Yeah. But the Congress party will really, really have to be on its toes. Because the BJP is not going to sit quiet. The BJP is going to be very quick in terms of the correctives it now puts into place. I can expect the Prime Minister to reach out to the Lingayat community once again, and because a chunk of the Lingayat community
Neerja ji, we seem to be losing your audio. There's a problem with Neerja Chaudhary's audio. Let me check if the audio is back. Neerja ji, please go ahead.
Yeah, therefore, the Congress cannot afford to sit back even for a moment. All eyes are going to be on how they run Karnataka for those signals, the appropriate signals to go out to other states also. Because I really expect the BJP to come back with its correction plan to rectify the situation, and also particularly to reach out to the Lingayat community whose support it has had over the years, and a chunk of the community voted in favor of the Congress this time. But what we can see this time, that the Congress
Neerja ji, we'll just fix your audio. I want to cut across to RP Singh as well. Mr. Singh, 2024 elections, and there's also this classic theory that people vote differently in state elections and national elections. That has been the proven, trajectory or trend that we have seen in various elections across the country. The visuals on your screen, you have Mr. DK Shivakumar, the Deputy Chief Minister-elect of the state, reaching the KPCC office. Well, he's the man who has been there for the organization, very critical in cementing this victory for the Congress party, called troubleshooter. It was a call from Mrs. Sonia Gandhi that changed the course of things. Mr. DK Shivakumar earlier was not accepting that he will be the deputy in the state, but now he has accepted that position. Mr. DK Shivakumar reaching the Karnataka Congress office. Mr. Siddaramaiah is already on his way. He'll be reaching in a few minutes from now. And the supporters of Mr. DK Shivakumar present outside the Congress party office in huge numbers. You can hear the sloganeering, you can hear the chants in his favor, and that CLP meeting about to begin in just a few minutes from now. So we stay with these visuals. Let's just try and dip it. Let's try and dip it. made any elaborate statement each time he has been confronted with questions by the media. He has continued to remain committed to the Congress party. There was never ever any hint of any kind of factionalism which was being engineered by him. Political rivals were saying, well, could there be a vertical split within the Congress party? All that criticism has been brushed aside with an important decision that the Congress party has taken, and rather swiftly. I would like to go back to RP Singh, the BJP spokesperson with us on the broadcast. Sir, in 2024 in Lok Sabha election, like the last time, the BJP had swept the state. The manner in which the victory was cemented in Lok Sabha election was unprecedented in many ways. With the state election results going in the favor of the Congress party, do you think that the edge of the BJP could still be maintained?
Well, Anushka, state elections and parliamentary elections are contested on different agenda and different issues. One. Secondly, also, last time, in 2019 also, it was DKS which was in power in Karnataka.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Mr. DK Shivakumar speaking. Let's try and listen in. All right. Once again, he's refuted to speak. He's been insisted by the media many times to give a soundbite. He's refused to. Mr. Singh, sorry to interrupt you. Please go ahead, sir.
No. So, the parliamentary elections, the state elections are contested on different agendas. One, and secondly, there are state governments which are our opposition state government, and still we have won elections in those states. The parliamentary elections, we have swept state elections. Rajasthan, Karnataka itself last time. So it depends on whether the opposition can field a credible face. One, and then do they have alternative agenda?
Yeah.
As on date, I don't see any of them. I mean, I don't see a credible face among the opposition also, and also that they don't have any agenda which can be countered to the welfare schemes of the Prime Minister Modi.
All right. So, well, that's a fair point to make, and I said that during my question as well, that yes, people vote differently in state elections and national elections. There are various elections that one can really look at. West Bengal is a very classic example, a state which did not actually work in the favor of the BJP, because in the state election it was TMC which formed the government with a decisive mandate. Tushar, you had a point to make. Please go ahead.
Anusha, the answer to your question about what happens in Karnataka in the future, it will all boil down to the 2024 elections, which the BJP is still expected to sweep. Now, if Siddaramaiah can win as the chief minister 20-odd seats for the Congress in 2024, he would strengthen his chances to be the chief minister perhaps for the next 10 years. But if he cannot, if this repeat of 2019 happens where BJP sweeps the state, it will be curtains for Siddaramaiah, and DK Shivakumar will make a case for him to be the chief minister after 2024. It will repeat as it repeated in Madhya Pradesh. That's what I believe.
Mr. R.K. Upadhyay, you want to comment on that point, that 2024 is going to be different for the Congress party? I saw you nodding, so I came to... Yeah.
I don't understand how the responsibility lies only with Siddaramaiah and the DK can jump in and take his position.
Yeah.
After all, he's the KPCC president. He also has equal responsibility of ensuring that the Congress wins as many Lok Sabha seats as possible. So I think there is too much of a hypothecation in this. We should not jump to these conclusions.
Sir, but sir, I do want to understand this from you, that in Lok Sabha elections, voters, cast vote on completely different elections. An Indian voter has that political maturity and sense that when he votes or when she votes in a state election, there are different set of issues dominating her head. And when the person votes, say in a Lok Sabha election, it's a different set of issues that the voter really looks at. Will the Congress party be able to convert this from a state election victory at the national level? Is that possible for them? Mr. Upadhyay, that was for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get the point.
Yeah. No, what I'm trying to understand from you is that if the voting pattern and the state at the national level are very different, then is it fair to say that the Congress party will be able to cement similar kind of victory even in the Lok Sabha elections? Talking about the state of Karnataka particularly. Manishji, I'll come to you after this.
No. See, I think people vote differently, and as we have seen, parliamentary elections, the difference, in the vote is huge. I mean, when we take 2019, the BJP candidates won by more than 2 lakh votes in, I think, 12 constituencies out of 26 they won. So, the parliamentary election has a different flavor to the whole thing because of Mr. Narendra Modi, and he's very popular in Karnataka, and he has done it many times. So I feel that it's a big challenge for Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar to ensure that the Congress has a foothold in the Lok Sabha elections as well. And if they can win at least 6 or 7 seats, I think that will be an achievement compared to what it was in 2019. Because in 2019, they were just swept away. And now that JDS has also, withering away, there's a bigger challenge for the Congress.
Okay.
See, JDS used to take a certain percentage of votes. Now it looks like after what has happened in these assembly elections, it's going to be more challenging because it's going to be a direct fight between Congress and BJP.
Manishji, a quick and a final point for you.
Sure. In fact, I'm a Congress spokesperson. I will also make Tushar's point for him. Look, if you, as a practicing politician, I believe that Lok Sabha elections are indeed different from Vidhan Sabha elections. And if you take historical trends, the BJP in the Lok Sabha in Karnataka has dominated. There are no two ways about it. However, also as a practicing politician, I would like to state that one, the Congress is on the path to change, and a significant internal revolution has happened in the party since we realized we took lessons from our losses over the last 4 or 5 years. And that has resulted in a structural, organizational, philosophical change in the Congress, starting from the Udaipur revolution, going to the execution of the, I'm saying myself, the brilliant Bharat Jodo Yatra. Then it resulted in Himachal elections, then it is gone on to Karnataka elections. So, as a practicing politician, but also as somebody who loves history, I'd say you go back and see that there is distinct changes which are happening in the Congress. Is it going to be easy in the Lok Sabha? Not at all. Not at all. And to take a look at Karnataka, I think what happens is that the momentum that is gained, in politics, things have their own momentum.
Sure.
One. And the second is that once you're in power in the state, then there is a tendency also in terms of voting percentages to change because a lot of voting patterns align themselves in that way.
Right.
And the third thing is...
I'm short of time, Manishji. I'm sorry I have to interrupt you there, but credit where it's due. You've crossed the first hurdle, and we look forward to that swearing-in ceremony in the state of Karnataka. Manish Kanduri, RP Singh, RQ Upadhyay, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the broadcast. Neeja and Tushar will continue to stay with us. Live visuals coming in from the Karnataka Congress office for now, slipping into a shot.